Ruto will remain with only his side. But we need peace. And that's why we always say, wacha watu wajigonge. Wanajigonga wenyewe. And you know what? Let me prove you how wanajigonga. You had even people like Cheral Gay voting for no GMOs. Yes, I told you the ship, I think, is already in. Kila kitu ishaenda. Ishafanyika. But again, they are going against their own boss. So now, who brought this? Who brought this? Is the Calais. So now you have a problem that is happening in your own backyard. As a mafia or as a strong person, you think in your own backyard, things are starting to happen in your own backyard that your own MPs, as people from the Rift, are bringing motions against something that you're saying should happen. And you're the president. Who are you left with at that point? If your own backyard is starting to degenerate, politically, something is starting to go wrong. And I'm not saying Baba is a dictator in any way or anything. You've never seen Baba's people from his own backyard. Not even his own backyard. Places that he has stronghold, even Mombasa, come and bring something against him. But you have people initiating, people from your own backyard, and it passes. Okay? Your deputy is busy fighting other people. Mudavadi, someone who doesn't really have a constitutional, really something entrenched in the constitutional office. Busy fighting that. Kindiki, they are fighting with, with unrest happening. Things being, conversed in the parliament. Constitutional things happening. And everything. You're starting to be left alone. And so, at that point, the king is naked and is getting naked. Didmas Barasa, someone I've never even ever supported in any way. Alisema, Sereka, we are naked. The king is naked. And you hear people starting to talk about Kalonzo. The same thing we were saying that Ukambani, we were coming to demystify this central thing. Rift Valley watajikaranga tu wenyewe, watagongana wenyewe. Central pia wameanza kujigonga wenyewe because of Rigiji. And we love him. Na Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria has been where? Gari ya Musando ilipatikana na nani? Alikuwa kwa ndege moja na nani akidipotiwa? Do you hear how he talks? Did you hear the F word? Have you ever heard a minister say F word? Hata mwenye alikuwa mkali alikuwa Gamichuki alisema, if you rattle a snake, expect to be bitten by it. You know? So I'm saying there's a problem in the house on the hill. And we expected it. And there's very smart people that said, just wait for 3 months and you will see. Because what is said by a king that is going out is because that king has led that nation or that kingdom and understands exactly what has happened and what happens in that kingdom. And some kings have led without having been on the throne. There's people like Raila. Raila has never been so quiet in any other election. Uhuru said something and walked away. One of the most humblest person you've ever had. Hata kutusi watu kama mavia kuku. People told him ni mlevi. But he led that country, and you can see the infrastructure that he's done with it, with the humility. He knows something. They know something. And sometimes the best battle won is the one that you never fought. I'm telling you, I see something coming up. If people don't change, something will change, and it won't change because people want. It will change because people will eat themselves from the inside, and it's starting, and it's not even that time that we were given. That's why Richie said I'm going to be a little bit serious. I haven't been serious here. Unajua tangu tushindwe mimi kwanza nilitoka nje ya politics kidogo nikapotea, and I've stopped being very serious about it so much. But I want you guys to listen to what I just said. The house on the hill stuff is not good. And let's wait. But I think Kenya will sustain itself. We will be good. And everything will be fine, but something will change in between. Either people style up, or the 1 million march that never happened, that stopped at Uhuru Park, is very easily done today. So I'm just saying, let's just watch. I want them to stay there. I love the super CS. Moses Kuria akae hapo. Wacha. Watu wenye wanachoma wacha wakae hapo, wacha wachome. But as long as they take care of our country and our fellow Kenyans, but it's about time that we get serious with our leadership and our governorship. And I don't know what is going to happen, but I think something has to change and will change. It's not that it has to change. It will change. Coming very soon, maybe sooner than people think.
Okay, thank you Mato. Ose ngoja kidogo tu dakika moja nikuwekee hii alafu ongee in a minute. Let me see, there's a video here. Okay.
Append their signatures to kick out the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade, Industry, Moses Kuria, for planning to import the 10 million bags of maize, some GMOs, others organic. Pokot South Member of Parliament David Koseng, who is behind that push, has however said the plan also is pegged on whether or not the CS continues with that move or reverses it. Now, this comes as Kuria remained adamant that he will not back down from pushing to ensure no Kenyan dies of hunger. KTN's Emmanuel To reports.
The move to impeach the Cabinet Secretary for Investments, Trade and Industry, Moses Kuria, is gathering pace. Over 53 legislators from across the political divide have signed to have the CS out of office for importing maize into the country. Pokot South MP David Koseng, who is leading the exercise, is supposed to have at least 233 MPs, representing a two-thirds majority of the House. According to Koseng, the numbers have been overwhelming as the angry MPs want the CS tamed for his planned action.
He will be the first cabinet minister to leave office. And he might leave office before the end of this month or before Christmas.
Those thinking about maybe impeaching the cabinet secretary for trade and industry maybe are well informed, and we are waiting. Mine, I can only append signature if convinced that this is the best reason to have him impeached.
The ouster motion is, however, pegged on whether the CS continues with the importation of the maize or not. This comes as the embattled CS maintained he will not be cowed by the move and that he will remain on track to ensure the cost of living is low and that no Kenyan dies of hunger. Kuria, who is accompanying President William Ruto on an official trip to the Republic of South Korea, tweeted asking the voices against the importation to keep off politics. The importation of the 10 million bags of maize has also received more pressure from the opposition side, with Azimio Chief Legal Advisor Paul Mwangi now saying they have already submitted a petition in court stopping the lifting of the ban on genetically modified organisms, GMOs.
And the foundations of the case is because prior to this blanket approval by cabinet of all GMO products, there has existed since the year 2012 regime for regulating how GMOs enter into the country. And that is why we have challenged the removal of that regime.
The lawyer says the lifting of the ban and the subsequent importation of maize that has already docked at the port of Mombasa is an affront to the rule of law.
Interested parties have come in and they have answered to the petition. We have filed our submissions, and the other group is going to be filing the submissions next week. And the case is going to be held on the 15th of December.
Azimio leader Martha Karua has also poked holes on President William Ruto's move to lift the ban, arguing that the cabinet was not legitimate at the time. As the debate gathers momentum, CS for Agriculture Mithika Linturi continues to give the debate a wide berth. Emmanuel Tor, KT News, Nairobi.
Reportedly,
Aya, ose umesikia ndio hiyo.
You know, these are very interesting times. These are very interesting times. You know, we were just talking here about how Gachagua can be put in control, I mean, in check. Now, if I could make a prediction, Kuria is going to be stronger than you see him, because we need to ask ourselves, these people are debating that they want the motion on the GMO has been passed, isn't it? But the same fellows are going to vote to retain Kuria. Now you can see the contradiction which is going to be there. My prediction is that if that happens, that Kuria is retained, he's going to emerge stronger, especially in Central. Take it from me. And among all these people, they Stone PK, we are saying that Kindiki, the Muturis are not so much of anything. They call it the Nyeri governor, where Gachagua comes from. Now, this motion may end up giving Kuria a much bigger cloud, and he is going to be more recognized. Much more. He would have survived this, and he will only emerge stronger. Now, the issue of the imports, I thought I understand that if you are to import the maize, it has to be procedurally done within the government legal ways of doing it. Now, the fact that this maize is already there, and there is a motion on the other side, it simply means something is not right. So, to that, I think the government will have to face some issues here. Now, that legal battle, as much as it is in court, I do not know what Kenyans expect, because the way things are now, we have a rogue judiciary, you have a rogue parliament. In other words, they can do whatever they want, irrespective of what Wananchi thinks. The same thing goes for the judiciary. Again, you can also say that you have a rogue executive. And I want to extend it. You're also almost having a rogue judge. Now, all these main elements that determine what happens in the country in terms of governorship, all these things, they think things are not right. Things are not right. When was the importation certificates issued, and to who? Was there any competitive bidding? And then the other thing is, who is the private fellow who has brought in this for the government? Now, to go out there specifically to get GMO maize, as if you can't get the other normal maize. Those are questions which need to be answered. You see, nobody is going that direction. Our parliament, now they come contesting through that motion, the importation of maize, and of course, trying to go against what Kuria is talking about. But the same parliament, it's like they are helpless. By the end of the day, you see, for example, the same Rift Valley MPs who seems to be leading this this protest against GMO maize. There are two angles to this. Some people are genuinely concerned that our farmers, our maize, homegrown maize, might actually disappear. But others want the political side of it, side of things. You can see the route Nkuri has taken. He's saying we had promised that nobody will die. So as far as he's concerned, he's driving that he doesn't want people to die. Now, my question is, which people are not asking, why bring in GMO maize? That is where the problem is. Again, they say that in Rift Valley, the harvests are going to be a bumper harvest. So again, it takes you back now. Who are the main beneficiaries of this imported maize? Now, assuming the courts go rogue and the GMO thing that is not stopped, and Korea goes ahead and starts bringing this maize into the country, what options are left for Kenyans? What options are left for Kenyans? Yeah. Now, these fellows who have been trying to say they are is it Bunge la Wananchi, that kind of thing. The People's Watchman, Shikubu, already died, but maybe this is the right time. Somebody needs to lead, maybe even a demonstration against the maize imports. Wachana na maneno ya courts. We don't care what the courts are going to do because they are likely to support the president. They are likely to support Kuria. So our legal officer there, how far would he has gone? How far would Paul Mwanga has gone if the courts end up approving the imports? They are going to weigh the two sides. They are going to say, according to them, people are dying. They'll rather have the GMO than death. Somebody can actually argue like that. I hear somebody is trying to say that, is it Martha Karua, that the so-called cabinet which approved this, was it within their mandate? Did they have powers to lift the ban, given that they were in a transition kind of stage? Don't be surprised if the courts can actually turn their ears away from that, the fact that that was a transition cabinet, and just ignore it. They'll say they have more important things to do with. People are dying. People are dying. I wanted to make a small comment on the Mutembei case. You see, if you look at all the other ministries, there are ministries which have proper budgets, well established, and what have you. Now, Mutembei's ministry, or whatever it is, even if it has a budget, if at all, what budget? Ask yourself. For consultations? Do you think Mutembei's budget or ministry has any budget? The same way you have for the water ministry, for agriculture ministry, for energy and what have you, all these other ministries, they have proper budgets. Now, that may then tell us to what extent Mutembei has been duped in all this. Maybe he's just having the secretary, he's just having an office. Because you can be rest assured, he doesn't have a representation across the country, away from the railways office. Mutembei may just be an office budget of sorts. And that will mean that his clout is going to be very, very short-lived. So by all means, Gachagua will just be having his day. You see, Gachagua has a budget even to go around the country. Mutembei does not. So to that extent, the two cannot, because Mutembei is not in the constitution. Gachagua will always have the upper hand. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think I have a question for you, Kusa, and this one comes from the video that I last played. What is the point of MPs going for Moses Kuria? Everybody knows that a CS, a cabinet secretary, is an appointee of the president, and so if for any reason the MPs have grievances towards the importation of maize and especially GMO, the person they should be addressing is the President of the Republic of Kenya directly, because Moses Kuria is not an appointing authority by himself. He was appointed by somebody else. And the reason why we have parliament as another part of government is to check the executive. They can call Moses Kuria all sort of names, but Moses Kuria knows that there's nothing that is going to happen to him simply because he has the backing of the president. This is the language that has been used in Kenya ever since. Even when Raila Odinga suspended William Ruto and Sam Ongeri from cabinet position when he was the PM, they told him, you are not the appointing authority. Simple. Now, these MPs are purporting to be looking for over 230 signatures. Can you tell me where these signatures will come from? From where I stand, they do not have the capacity to get that number of signatures to impeach Moses Kuria. And so this is all drama that you are being subjected to. All these shenanigans you're seeing every day, MPs coming together to seem like they are fighting for the common mwananchi, is all drama. These people know very well that this maize that they're trying to fight against is already in the country. But now, because they know they will face the wrath of their constituents, the only thing they can do is to come and call a press conference and try to throw, shade, to try to show that they were really against this idea of importation. The truth is, Ose, and you're here, I can tell you for sure today that Moses Kuria is not going anywhere. And that motion will not see the light of day. Tuko na we hapa na utaona namna hiyo, simply because these people have no spine to face the executive. They are all cowards. Hii ni wale watu nasikianga, people with no political spine. They are all cowards. Hakuna kitu watafanyia Moses Kuria, na hiyo mind itaingia Kenya, and there's nothing they can do.
You see what I can say is this. That's why I started by saying that as much as most other people expect other things, this motion may end up building Kuria's cloud. You remember I did say something like that. Remember, I started by saying that the way the maize itself has reached here tells you that the forces behind it are even beyond Kuria himself. Now, what is not clear is whether these MPs, all of them, know who they are fighting, because basically this agenda is for the president. You can see the Bill Gates and the people they are trying to support. And I did tell you that the day the GMO, the ban was lifted, I was so surprised that the Secretary of State here in the US, they sent congratulations to the president. Never mind that when he became president, the congratulatory messages were not that fast. Now, in less than 12 hours, congratulatory messages were there for the president for lifting the GMO ban. Now, what does that tell you? It simply tells you that this maize we are talking about, it is a script which was drawn long time, and it will go to its full end. It will go to its full end. Moses Kuria may end up, as much as some people are trying to say how they are collecting signatures. After this, Moses Kuria will end up with a lot of clout and more, very much stronger. In fact, he's likely to give a challenge to Gachagua in Central, as much as things are concerned. You see, right now, it's like, as I did say, although BK may not agree, the Kindikis, the Muturis, the Ichungwas, Moses Kuria, the Chaguas, all there is a struggle here. Call it a Cold War struggle to get who the Mount Kenya kingpin. I think even the matters could be there. It's eventually going to be. Now, this is going to really give Kuria some clout. In fact, it will be wrong if somebody withdraws this motion, here, impeachment of Kuria. It would have done Kuria a lot of disservice. So you will see him retained. In fact, they are going to vote to retain Kuria as the cabinet secretary. And that will help push Kuria's political clout much, much higher. Now, but as to exactly the people behind, I'm not so sure whether the courts can also dwell on that. Paul Mwangi has taken the matter to court, but the assuming that even the importation was okay, the way the maize has ended up in Mombasa is so questionable. So all those questions go unanswered. The questions go unanswered. Now, okay, I can understand Martha is trying to question the cabinet that approved the banning of the GMO maize. And as I said, we almost now have like a rogue judiciary. So that's, I don't expect that to end up anywhere. They are going to say stopping people from dying is more important than GMO maize. At least maybe if GMO maize will mean that they die next year and not now. If they don't have the maize, they'll die now. If they have GMO, they'll die next year. So they would have gotten some grace period to die. That's likely to be the counter argument that the court is going to have. And you have, as I said, you have a rogue judiciary, you have a rogue parliament in terms of what they are going to pass, and you have a rogue executive according to the orders they give. They lift the bans irregularly, and then, of course, last and but not least, you have a rogue church. So what else? What else are Kenyans left with?
But Ose, before I give it to the next person, my question here is this: I have a problem with the way Azimio does its stuff. I'm still surprised why Paul Mwangi had to rush to court to argue the case of importation of GMO. It's like they don't learn. This is the same court that has been captured. We've been crying here every day telling these people that there's nothing good that will come from this court. This is the same court that you're saying is releasing suspects of graft, of mismanagement of money, killers, rapists, and all these other people from the other side of the political divide. And then you want to rush to the same court to seek justice, knowing very well if this is a government policy, all they will go to do is just the president or the deputy president or whoever it is will just pick a phone call and probably call the CJ, tell them your case inakuja hapo tupilia mbali. It's as simple as that. Why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting your time going to court knowing very well that even if you go to court, the court will not grant you justice? It is a waste of time. I think the best way, and I was joking this with somebody else, the best way that Azimio could have done, if Raila Odinga and all the people that are against GMO importation wanted to make this thing a matter of urgency, what Raila Odinga should have come out and said is that he supports the importation of GMO. And I can tell you PK and SSK union scripts today, hiyo ship yenye imefika Mombasa ingerudishwa mahali imetoka. If Raila Odinga comes out and said, okay, nina support importation ya GMO, then these people, because they want to do everything against what Raila Odinga says, they will turn that ship mahali imetoka. It's as simple as that. But going to court, it will not help anybody. Endelea Stone.
Kusema you are banning things. Sema before me. Endelea kusema. Endelea.
Yeah, go ahead. Kusema. Go ahead. I don't know what he's saying. Okay, you can go ahead, Stone, alafu ataendelea.
Nilikuwa nakwambia kusema uendelee kabla yangu. Unmute.
Nilikuwa nataka kusema prize fulani cause napigana na mtu kwa comment section kama mtanikubali.
Endelea wewe basi Mato.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was asking you to unmute Mimi.
Okay. Mato.
Okay, I think now I'm okay. Richie, what I wanted to say is this. That case against the GMO in court is not recent. It went almost immediately when the ban was lifted. So it is not like they have just come up with it. It went earlier. But something else you need to understand. I said here that the judiciary is a rogue judiciary. Sometimes, to let the rest of the world and the rest of the people to see this, you do it exactly the way they have done. They may well know that they will not get far with it. They may well know that the courts will rule against them. But to wrap the point home that, look, next day they tell you that this is a rogue judiciary is controlled by the executive, then you will understand why. So for that, as far as to that, in that context, they are okay the way they have done it. It's the same thing Martha Karua has done, taking that Supreme Court case to the East African. So some people are trying to argue that what will come out of it, they can't change anything. No. That going to the East African court, especially if they agree with the argument, is a very, very strong point put home, especially when you start talking about the West and some other countries having interfered with the Kenyan election. It will be there for the world to see. It will be a point would have been sent home. So Paul Mwangi going to court is not in futile as such. It is going to give a very rub of the point home, and so most people are going to understand what a rogue judiciary actually is. Thank you.
Okay, Stone.
Okay. Let me say this. All said and done, Kenya is questioned. Kenya is questioned because whether you talk of judiciary, I know Kuseo is ni wale old school, wale wanasema tufuate kitabu. You know, hiyo pole you go file enda UN file huko. My friend Kuseo, the world of today is hammer for hammer, fire for fire. You sit down there on the desk waiting to be to analyze. Mothers, all those efforts are futile. Of course, they are for records if we do a coup. You know, if Kenya goes haywire, you know, there will be a record that the opposition tried X, Y, Z. But it's a waste of time, especially if there is money involved. I wish she had donated that money to help some people in Kirinyaga or somewhere, you know, because which world cares? Who cares about what Kenya is doing today, Kuseo? Not UN, not nothing. Today, you build your country like Rwanda. Care less for anybody else outside Rwanda. Whoever wants to deal with Rwanda, kuja Rwanda. Tueleze mambo yetu. That's what Kagame says. Don't give us nonsense from the ivory towers. Who you calling yourself IMS, calling yourself all those kind of. That is all garbage as far as Africa is concerned. Those bodies, all of them are the ones that have killed Africa. And I wish I could be a president of this beautiful country of ours. I would be Kagame times 3, because Kenyans, you need to be 3 times. Serious dictator. So long as you are dictating the right thing. Kill democracy. It takes the garbage. It is not working. Get people who are delivering for 5 years. Give people mandate. Utafanya hivi na hivi. Maneno ya democracy, tukae pale tupige elections where even returning officers can decide against mwananchi, and then because they are all wrong, they are sad. So if I become the president, nitapulainisha watu hiyo miaka 5, wale waizi watalia, but it will be straight. I'll suspend that constitution because it's not serving mwananchi. Okay, I'll consolidate leadership with the security forces, the armed forces, and all that, and we agree to put Kenya back to the whatever. Because hii line ya democracy, sijui tuende wapi. We go to, look at it this way. At hata ICC where Ruto was going to go and answer the case. Look at how it has been done. I think they even had a hand in it to make sure that this thing dies. You know, so you sit there waiting and caring about what the world is seeing at dunia itaona ya Kenya. Do they care? They care if Kenyans die, they come and take the land and invest and do that. China wants to auction Kenya. It will be their happiness when they come, take the entire coastal region, start doing their ports everywhere. They are looking for homes for their whatever billion of people they have. Kenyans, we are here being lied to. We are cheated. Oh, skiza judiciary. Oh, you have a president. You have to accept him. Really? It's like being told hii shindano ni cyanide na kudunga nayo. But omba Mungu, sika hii Biblia, you pray. You will not die painfully. Utakufa pole pole. And you accept. So for Kenyans to even sit and imagine that things will be okay. Oh, Moses Kuria sijui. I mean, Moses Kuria will be impeached. Sijui ati GMO. Even this protesting against GMO, it is futile. Look at akina Raila wamenyamaza. Ask yourself, everybody has been amepukishwa hii dawa ya mshetani. Raila is powerless. Today, nobody can call people to the streets. And that is the only way to get rid of it. There is no way in Kenya that will change things. We were saying as Azimio guys should resist. They are not resisting. Wanalamba hao watu sehemu mbaya. They are all leaking those people because it is every man for himself and God for us all. And I keep on saying, 60 years down the line is always a turning point from 55, even in human beings. That is when a turning point inakuanga unaanza ku either drop and you drop very fast or una drop softly ukienjoy maisha. You either drop perpendicularly or you drop, kwa ile curve mzuri. Same thing with countries. If economies have not broken through at 50, Kwisha. Rwanda was very good. They did it very early. They had to do the genocide, which is what has put them where they are, unfortunately. And I can count so many others that had to bite the bullet to put things straight. This I'll keep on preaching until I die. Kenya sahi mahali iko ni moto, ni kuwasha moto, kurekeza, kupiga, unachukua bomb, unapiga what is bad. Bomb that state house, let's burn it. It doesn't serve mwananchi. That parliament is not for mwananchi. It's useless. There's no symbol of unity. Kenya is not united. You cannot unite when you are what? When you are njaa. Waluya, unity for a purpose. Why would you unite for a purpose? What purpose? I would ask. Somebody telling you, let's unite for a purpose. That's conmanship. So, after that purpose, what happens? You should unite naturally. Naturally. Don't unite because you want to go. Kama mtaani. I like quoting mtaani because that's where I was nurtured. All my style is from mtaani. Ati tulikuwa tunaona dem mmoja anakuwa ni mgumu sana. Then you start telling Kuseo na Mato na ule mwingine, mumeona ameenda market, sasa unasema nipeleke. You are trying to look for force because ukienda peke yako utadidi. So that immediately ukiunite you hata ishiki. Huyo dem anakuangalia itu hivyo anacheka. So even in Kenya today, if you are uniting just because of one thing, you are not uniting because of the painful progression in the entire country. Like now, the leadership is bad, period. Wacha tuache maneno ya GMO nini, manake this leadership will give you, I don't want to pronounce, but it will give you all the essence, including hizo zako bwana kusema. So the thing is not to deal with those assets, but is to deal with the cause of that S, and it is simple: uprooting this rotten government. Hakuna in this government, no one, hata hao wameingia Azimio wamekuwa rotten. They are rotten because how do you sit with rotten people in parliament? What laws are you making? My very good friends, people like Akinotienda, who I respect so much, you are sitting there. Unaongea na waizi na wauaji. What will they change? So for me, to conclude, I don't see any other thing. I don't see any other thing where you have no goodwill from the president. You know, he's not the president. He doesn't care. The judiciary, you go filing there to showcase, it doesn't help. The parliament is rotten. It's only Mwananchi who is left on his own. Na mwananchi ni kuchukua mawe, chukua chochote kile unacho moto. Like now, hiyo mahindi inatakiwa tuichomee Mombasa. Yeah, blow it off Mombasa. Ikishatolewa kwa hiyo ship, wherever they will store it, burn it, blow it off. I would have said we blow the ship, but the ship doesn't belong to us, it belongs to somebody. But wherever the stores they put that, set it on fire. Simple as that. Kanuke, kanuke.
Kenyans should demonstrate and have it banned instead of going to court.
So, SS, you still expect to see Kenyans on the streets at this day and time, eh? People are hungry. I don't know if you know that. Watu hawana chakula ya kukula. The people, unajua zile siku yenye kulikuwa na demonstration Nairobi, watu walikuwa naenda demonstration kama wameshiba. At least ukikimbizwa na GSC uko na nguvu ya kutoroka. Saa hizi hakuna mtu ako na chakula. You expect those people to go and demonstrate in the streets of Nairobi again?
In that case, you agree with Kuria?
No. Kuria's issue is different because with Kuria is not there because he cares about anybody who is angry. The reason why Kuria is importing maize, and especially GMO maize, is because they are those businessmen. You know, I've just read something from the deputy president here. He says, we want to thank the US government for the much support that it has given unto us since we assumed office. And I want to tell you that these people, and I remember PK ile siku niliwaambia hapa, ukitoa Bill Gates America umpeleke Afrika, hakuagi amekuja ati kutupa pesa yake kwa nini kusaidia watu. Ule jamaa anakujanga biashara. Ule jamaa alikuja biashara. Hiyo ndio kitu ilikuwa imemleta huko. Ile kitu waga amekosa mahali anakuanga ametoka ni watu wa kufanyia experiment. Watu wa kufanyia experiment ndio anakuaga amekosa. Sasa akipata wale ambao wanasema lete bora utulipe, lete ndiye alipata wale jamaa akaenda akazunguka huko akasema I'll spend 700 and something billion Kenyan shillings to improve sijui agriculture, sijui irrigation nini kidogo. GMO ndio hiyo mumemwagiwa. This guy is never a person ambaye anatoaga kitu yake bure. Now, because the Kenyan government imepata mtu ambaye ako tayari kupeana, now ako tayari kupokea, they don't care about what conditions are set for them to receive, as long as it's given to them. Na ndio kitu nasikia kusema mimi nakwambia. I don't agree with Moses Kuria because yeye hashuguliki ule mtu wa konja. That's none of, one of the reasons ambaye Moses Kuria anakubali importation ya maize. And I want to tell you this. I'm reading a statement right here for the Minister of Agriculture. Minister of Agriculture anasema ya kwamba yeye anajidistance na hiyo importation ya hiyo GMO. He's not part of it. Anasema he's trying to assess the situation, na kama ataona ya kwamba inahitajika mahindi ikuwe nini Kenya, ikuwe imported Kenya, then he might be able to advise what capacity we need to import. So he's not part of what is being done right now by the Ministry of Trade. So these people are cartels. Hawa ni watu ambaye, and I'm telling you, hii maize kando itakuja kulipuka. It might not happen right now, but a few days later, a few months later down the line, utasikia itakuja kulipuka. And it will only start wakati farmers in Rift Valley and other areas that grow maize will start protesting against the MPs. Ukiona MP akina Cherar Gay wameenda kuwa na baraza huko kwa huko, atolewe mbio na mawe, ambiwe usiwahi kanyaga hapa, that is the time utajua sasa wakulima wamechoka. And that is when easy scandals zenye zinaendelea zitakuja lipuka. Julia, you have something to say?
So why is Cheragai and his friends wasting our time calling press conferences? Makiadi, see wanajua they cannot do anything. This is their boss. Why are they wasting our time calling?
Because they want to be seen to do their job. They want to show their constituents ya kwamba wanafanya kazi. As simple as that. This is just for the cameras.
Mimi, it's just that I'm sad that Kenyans will be exposed to food they are not sure whether it's healthy for them. Lakini kama isingelikuwa ni hiyo kuseo, ningesema hiyo mahindi iletwe so that Rift Valley farmers give their maize to the cows. Niliona juzi people from Kinangop walikuwa napea ng'ombe boga, cabbage. So that because they had nowhere to sell that cabbage. So that Rift Valley people give their maize to the cows and goats and sheep. Ndio wasikie uchungu ya kuchagua serikali ya majambazi. So that next time they will think very hard, very, very, very hard as they go to the polls before they vote. That is what I will say, Makiadi. I'm sorry. I didn't hate the issue of this GMO thing, that Kenyans have to be exposed to all this, and not that because of some people's greed. Lakini, Cheragai and those members of parliament from Rift Valley should stop playing around with us. They were there. They campaigned. They supported them. They even know it is not Kuria making this decision. See, Makidi, si wanajua si Kuria. Kwani ni ndani ya si serikali, the bulk stops at Ruto. It is not Kuria. This whole Kuria drama is just drama. Wawache hiyo drama. Wasitulete. So me, I think I agree with PK and SS. I think Mary, they should sink that ship. Something should be done.
Aya, thank you, Julia. Naona Maggie amekuja, lakini ngoja kidogo tu, dakika moja.
Away from that, but yet another scandal involving corruption. Allies of Deputy President William Ruto today found themselves on the receiving end of the National Cereals and Produce Board (NCPB) scandal after angry farmers accused them of complicity in the saga. Key leaders who included Governor Jackson Mandago sat quietly as farmers expressed their fury, accusing some of them of focusing more on 2022 politics instead of standing with farmers in the region. Elvis Koskei now reports from the county of Uasin Gishu.
The meeting, attended by over 400 farmers from across the North Rift region, almost turned chaotic after a number of leaders were shouted down and challenged to come out clean on the maize scandal.
Leo hii tumekuwa na demokrasia katika taifa yetu ambayo ni sheria mama ya nchi. Sisi tutalete ng'ombe, tutalete nguruwe, tutamwaga mahindi kujaza town, mpaka town haipitiki. Wakulima kutoka Soi, Mr. Caleb, wewe juzi ulikuwa KTN, lakini hujatetea hawa, ulisema maneno outside the board. Wapi kutoka Kapseret, Mr. Sudi, usilinge tiren, tunataka utetee haki ya wakulima.
Mahindi imekuja Kenya hii. Mimi nataka tuambie Bwana Sudi, kama wewe unajua kitu hata nataja jina yako, hapana taja bure. Hawezi taja bure. Kama kitu wewe unajua, wewe mwambie hii watu. Bwana Gosita, wewe naingia jana hata watu maliza mwaka mbili. Wewe kama unajua kitu wewe sema, kwa sababu watu hawezi taja jina yako bure.
Nimesikia mtu akisema hapa ati sisi tumetajwa kwa maneno ya mahindi. Mimi kwanza nisaliwe. Sijawahi fanya biashara ya mahindi mimi. Ukishika simu yangu hii hata Cereals Board manager wa hapa, mimi simujui. Sina namba yake. Nafikiri hao wakulima wanajua.
The angry farmers also asked the Jubilee allied leaders to stop meddling in farmers' issues and stop criticizing leaders from the region speaking up against the scandal.
Sisi tunataka wale waizi wote isizidi siku 2, isifike mwezi wa isifike Alhamisi ya hii wiki.
Shida kama hii tuachie DCI na investigation wote watafute mpaka wapate. Lakini maneno nataka sikiza tu. Lakini maneno ya kutaja jina ya mtu hiyo tu kidogo mimi nakataa.
Hii list mliona juzi yenye imetoka ni cover up. Na minister mwenyewe alisema jana kwa gazeti ya jana kuwa leo atataja majina ya viongozi ama ile watu wenye wako connected na hiyo maneno ya nini? Ya mahindi.
MPs Oscar Sudi and Isoi counterpart Caleb Kositany were forced to explain their involvement in the maize saga.
Hiyo lazima tuambiane ukweli, hata mkipiga kelele. Hata mkipiga kelele. Serikali ni hiyo moja tu italipa mahindi, ndio tunataka tuombe tuseme tunaomba rais atulipie mahindi. Lakini hii maneno ya kusema ati tunapigia kelele pia serikali kwa kuleta siasa, hiyo tuache jamani. Tunaomba watu walipwe na tunataka wakulima walipwe na tumesema hao wakulima hawatashikwa.
Ili hii maneno tuzizungushane, cereals wanunue silo ya kisasa, waweke katika ile buying centers ya zamani na walete drying machine, mambo ya kukausha mahindi iwe ni gharama ya cereal board na serikali.
I'm appealing to His Excellency the President to give direction and instruct the Cabinet Secretary Kiunjuri to open National Cereals and Produce Board.
Nitoboe ama nisitoboe? Nitoboe ama nisitoboe? Wezi ni wale walihakikisha ndugu yetu Tiren sio chairman ya kilimo.
Wale walilete mahindi kutoka Uganda na wakati NCBB, wale walilete mahindi Tanzania na wakadaza kwenye cereals, hao watu wachukuliwe hatua ya sheria.
The NCPB, in which more than 2 billion shillings was lost between November last year and March 2018, has affected mostly peasant farmers from the DP's backyard. Though he has not been directly linked with the scandals, it has split his once seemingly solid support down the middle. Elvis Kosgei, KT News, was.
Kuna katela na kula serikali. Ukifika huko kuna katela na kula cereal. Kwani huyu katel ni mbwa mwitu?
Tunaimba hapa Kiswahili kizuri, Kiingereza kizuri, lakini hakuna inakuishia sanduku ya Senate. Recommend, wewe unajua kusungumuza sana, sungumuza mahindi leo. Mahindi ilitoka kwa Mexico, ilikuwa ya nani?
Mumekuja hapa kututanganya. Mumekuja hapa kutuweka sisi merry-go-round. Maneno ya 2022 watu wetu nakupa hapa ribarol kama msike. Sisi tuko na tabu ya kutosha. Hii watu mnapoona namna hii tuna tabu. Mahindi ndani ya sito, mahindi ndani ya cereal, mahindi sasa tayari kwa shamba na mnakuja tu kutuchekelea haki ya Mungu.
Zikiagizwa hakuna deni, wanalipwa mbeleni. Lakini ikiwa mwana Kenya inakuwa ni deni. Inakuwa ni deni. Sasa mamlaka ya serikali ni kwanza ni kuhudumia wa Kenya. Na mimi hii ni aibu kubwa sana. Kwa sababu tumepata mafuta, sasa kama mambo ya mahindi imetushinda, mambo ya mafuta tutaweza kweli?
Mahindi inaingia kiholela kutoka nchi jirani. Na sisi tukawaambia wale viongozi ambao wanalinda mpaka, serikali ya Kenya haikutumia ushuru wa mwananchi kujenga magala ya cereals board kusaidia mkulima wa nchi jirani. Wanakuja gorogoro moja sasa Bungoma ni shilingi 9. Kwa sababu mkulima hana pa kupeleka chakula chake.
And we want to do something once and for all. Hatutaki vile ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Tirena amesema turudi kila saa kwa hii hole.
Aya, nimewachezea video ndio mjue historia ya mahindi haijaanza jana. Na wale watu ambao wanakula watu wakulima wa mahindi, si ati ni mtu ametoka Kakamega, ama mtu ametoka Nyandarua, ama mtu ametoka Makueni. They are the same people ambao wamechaguliwa na the same people ambao wanalia saa hii. And these are the people wenye walikuwa nalia 2000 hapo Uhuru Kenyatta akiwa president, walikuwa nafikiria ni minister sijui Mwangi Kiunjuri ndiye anaingiza mahindi peke yake. You can hear them, you can even hear them saying themselves ya kwamba watu wao wenyewe ndio wana import mahindi. So this thing yenye tunasema saizi ya mahindi hii is not going to go away very soon, and it doesn't matter hata kama unachagua mtu ambaye anatoka kwako, MP wako. This thing has been eating the Rift Valley nation for a long time. Nani watu wao. In fact, it is just that they don't want to mention the name because of political ramifications, but everybody knows ni nani wana import your mahindi. Wacha nikaribishe Megi kwanza, unless Julia you have to say something, alafu tupatie Megi. Megi, habari ya
wacha Megi aongee. Habari Megi, good to see you.
Yeah, karibu Megi.
Salama sana, habari zenu? Muda mrefu sana sijasikia. Do you hear me? Okay.
Uko sawa, endelea.
Muda mrefu sana na nimeona kumbe kila mtu wana hiyo machungu kama mimi na hiyo mambo ya mahindi. I'm a farmer in Kenya. Na nimejaza gunia 600 bags. Nitapeleka wapi jamanini? Simu niambie. Kama GMO sasa imefika, nimesikia zimefika kabisa Mombasa. What is going to happen? I think shetani ingine imeingia country yetu, na huyo shetani we really don't know what we are going to do about him, because it has really brought a big confusion in everybody. Mpaka hata those whom we were thinking would help Kenya now everybody is silent actually. That is what I'm observing. Everybody is silent in this regard. Mpaka wale wenye wanani, those who are really annoying me are the Azimio people. I think they are the majority even in parliament, but they are just doing nothing. Hii scandal ya mahindi unapata watu wa Kenya Kwanza ndio are the ones who are now fighting. And I think they are trying to help the country, which they cannot, because where is their fight going to take them? Nowhere, because you people know what Ruto is. Na Ruto ndio ni yule state capture. Amecapture every area. Amecapture judiciary, amecapture sijui nini, everywhere. So what is going to happen to that mahindi thing? Watu wa Kenya let them just wait to die with that GMO inaitwa nini, GMO maize, because GMO hata hapo mi naona wako na GMO, but most of them are not even eating it. Hata wameandika hii ni organic na hii ni GMO. Most of the people are going for the organic. Why are we being forced with something which has been rejected even by the Americans? So Ruto is out to kill everybody in Kenya for, I don't know, people from Russia, China, wapate places pa kukaa. I don't know what we people did to God to let such like happen to our country, because it is really hurting actually. It is not something very good, and like right now things are so bad. People are crying. Poverty has really erupted the country. Nothing good is happening, and they are talking about bringing maize, which is going to kill people, because they know kuna watu wengine wako na njaa. Haya watu wa Rift Valley wanasema wako na mahindi, they don't know where to go and sell it. which they are not going to sell it because that one has already come in. So, what is the solution now? What do we do? What is going to happen to our country, or what is going to happen to our people? Me, that is my question. Because it is something which is quite alarming. I don't want to say that they elected Ruto. Chebukati rigged Ruto in just to spoil for Kenyans. But how can we stop this thing? That is a question I'm putting across to you people. How can we stop this thing? Because things are not good. Yeah. Our people down at home, are we going to bury them? Then we come back to such countries because it's not helping. Ruto's serikali is not helping, na yeye anazurura kila everywhere, na hiyo pesa na watu wanakufa na njaa. I just wanted to say hi actually. Sebado sinanga mood mimi because I don't know whether nitatambua hiyo serikali kama ni serikali yangu. I'm sorry about it. Thank you for giving me that chance.
Maki, unalima wapi? Where do you farm? Uko Nyanza?
Yeah, mi nalima Nyanza. Place inaitwa Uyoma. Uyoma, you know, is always a very fertile place, just at the lake.
Yeah, that's the point I've been driving here, that Kenyans can grow their food. Like people in Nyanza, I think they have 2 seasons. Like unlike parts of Rift Valley and Central, like Nyandarua, Nyanza, I think wako na 2 seasons of
Yeah.
planting, right?
Yeah.
And then kuna viazi tamu, that is sweet potatoes.
Kabisa, yes.
And a lot of it.
Yeah.
And beans.
Yeah.
So maybe I think that's what we should encourage our farmers to do. You know,
Exactly.
there's something that sometime back, Maggie, we were talking here. Kuna mtu sijui kama Geoffrey ama nani alikuwa anasema ati hao wakulima wa Rift Valley watatuzia mahindi 6,000. Sasa mimi nikaona ni kama watu wanataka kuhold the country hostage.
Yeah.
With their food. So I think it is high time our governors woke up and make sure that we have enough water for irrigation. And
Exactly.
also we diversify our food. Mkienda pale Mwea kuna mchele mingi sana because wanatumia hii river deeper for irrigation. So there's a lot of rice, so we can also eat rice. Hata kama akina pika unasema ati mchele ni ya wamama na watoto. Akina pika you have to teach yourself now to eat mchele na maharagwe. You start teaching yourself, msituletee hiyo na maneno yenyu ati mchele ni ya wamama na watoto.
Ubaya wanaume wa Kenya wanapenda ugali sana.
Hapana, wasituletee hiyo na mchele na maharagwe. We can even naona pale Waluya na I think some Luos. My friend used to make for me, they mash sweet potatoes and beans. Nyi mnapika hiyo chakula Maggie, it is a very delicious diet.
Yeah.
Sweet potatoes and beans, they mash it. It's very heavy and very delicious.
Yeah.
So it is high time we diversify our food. Maneno ya maugali. Kwanza ugali needs mboga. And
ugali ni mboga. Okay, hata wanaume wakipenda unaweka ugali kadogo na hiyo kamchele. Hii mambo ya Rift Valley, in fact the way you are talking I like it. Hii mambo ya Rift Valley wanatuuzia mahindi, nilisema no. Yes.
Alafu ati wanasema ati watauza 6,000. Wakae na hiyo mahindi yao.
Wakae na hiyo mahindi yao na hatutaki.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Hatutaki.
Kula mchele yetu na now Duke is enjoying me.
Yeah.
Wali wetu na maharagwe.
Yes.
And then tutakula sweet potatoes for breakfast.
Yes.
Na when wako pale kwa lake, omena ndio hiyo. My babies used to like omena so much.
Omena, ngege, kamongo. We have so many types of fish.
Let me tell you, Maggie, why I learned to make omena. This is what my children used to do. They used to go to one day I saw my daughter go to the neighbor's house. And unajua Kenya tu mtoto kula kwa neighbor si big deal. So she came back with a small plate of omena food, and she was licking it, and she was trying to share to the brother in hiding. Ndio nisione ati yeye ametoa chakula kwa jirani na ameletea ndugu yake mdogo, and they loved that food. I had to learn to make her omena. So it is high time we diversify our food. Hii maneno ya ati kuna watu ati wanauza mahindi 6,000. I think we got to stop this drama. If you go to Kambani, if they have enough water, that land is very fertile.
I'm telling you, it is.
Yeah, they produce a lot of millet, a lot of even Nyanza and Western.
Hata maragwe, niko na kashamba ingine pia nini yuko Machakos. Nimewahi kutoa maragwe mingi kabisa. Kama this time haikufanya vizuri sana, but I have 40 bags.
40 bags of
40 bags of nini? Maragwe.
Wow.
Beans,
That's
yes.
what you need to do.
Huko iko na maragwe sawa hiyo Machakos.
Uko Machakos wapi?
Hapo karibu inaitwa nini? Between Machakos and Athi River.
Kamulu.
Kamulu, yes.
You're my neighbor. Okay.
Really? Niko na kalanda hapo. Yuko mwingine aliniuzia 10 acres, but it's really doing good in Maragwe.
So I think that's the way to go. Tulime, we go back to our food. Pale Nyandarua, sisi tuko tu sawa, tuna na mukimo yetu, yenye haina mahindi PK, whether you like it or not. If you kuja pale kwetu, I'll give you mukimo ya peas, na a lot of green vegetables. Green peas, green vegetables, and a lot of potatoes. Na pale kwetu kuna kondoo, merino sheep. Na we have a lot of them. So every time tuko na mgeni tunachinja mmoja because we have a lot of merino sheep. Tunatenda nyama choma. So this thing ati watu wakule maugali, tuachane na maugali wa Kenya. Hii maugali ya GMO tuachane nayo kabisa. Sijui pike anasema nini.
Mukikula maugali make sure ni organic, sio GMO. Yeah. Iwe organic kabisa. Unajua tena hiyo GMO nimepata hiyo seed yake ukiplant huwezi kureplant again. Na yetu unajua kama mimi niko na seeds ambaye ilitoka kwa my great grandmother. Yes. So it is something which has been going on like that. Na siwezi kumix.
Na unakumbuka Maggie, tulikuwa tukipanda mahindi tukiharvest tunaweka kwa jikoni. Mko na ile kitu mmetengeza jikoni, you dry maize for the next season.
Yes.
Yeah, we do that. We do that too. So, and then another thing, mashamba yetu pale nyumbani, we really don't use a lot of fertilizer. We really do that. We use animal manure. Mtu ako na ng'ombe 2 na mbuzi, hiyo manure ndio unaweka kwa shamba lako, and you find that those farms usually in the long run are very fertile. So we can diversify our agricultural products na tuache maugali ya GMO, na hii watu wengine wakijifanya pale wanatuzia ati mahindi 6,000 Kenya shillings. That one also has to stop. So that is my thinking.
In fact, that is what I even asked one time. Watu wakiongea so much about manure, sijui nini. Nikasema, sisi kwetu, hizo mambo ya manure, we really don't understand them. Because we never use manure at all. And we are doing so well, by the way.
Wow, then your land is so fertile.
Yeah, very, very fertile.
Sisi tunatumia as we use that one for the cows, and every time you find the land is also very fertile. Waru, if you plant waru, the Irish potatoes, it's unapata ni kubwa sana yenye unatoa kwa shamba. So I am advocating for that. We go back to our roots so that we kill the GMO nonsense that is coming. And Kevin, I'm sorry, mimi ukikuja kunitembelea Kevin Ochieng, sina hiyo ugali na nitakutengenezea mukimo. na hiyo mukimo haitakuwa na mahindi, itakuwa kama chakula ya mtoto, lakini kutakuwa na nyama ya mbuzi, nyama choma. Kwa hivyo you enjoy yourself. Karibu PK.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you. Madam Megi, karibu sana. Kujaonana siku nyingi.
Yeah, thank you.
Ni kweli sisi kupata roho because those who are supposed to help Kenyans have been married. Wamelamba lolo. So they are all gone. Azimio is no more because all those guys have been swallowed by that evil you talked about. Kuna shetani, the king of all devil, of all evil ameingia. Hata kuna huyu jamaa alikuja ku make sure shetani ameingia. Sitaki kumtaja jina. Huyo akiingia nchi yoyote ujue hiyo nchi inaenda kuperish. Huyo ndio mtu shetani namba moja. Na ni yeye ndio anafanya mambo mingi. Jambo lolote mbaya duniani yeye ako mstari wa mbele. Na dunia inamhusudu sasa. You can imagine mtu mmoja anazungumza, ananena jambo, anasikika kuliko Mungu. Take that to the bank. Alisema kuna kitu kitafanyika duniani kwa muda fulani na ikakuwa hivyo. Wakishirikiana na wengine. Nimeongea kwa mafumbo mmejua. Sasa shetani ameshuka. Na shetani akishuka afukuzwe na Biblia ndugu yangu. Biblia unashika na unachukua pia rungu, unachukua sword, mishale na kila kitu. Ukibeba Biblia peke yake utakufa. Manake Mungu anasaidia ule anajisaidia. Kwa hivyo Wakenya kwa sasa ni kuchukua sheria mkononi, jilinde wewe mwenyewe. Number 1, nimefurahi vile Julia anasema. Maneno ya kusema ugali. Tusisie ugali. Lakini Megi sasa mahindi yako sijui utafanya nini. Manake sasa tungesema tususie ugali kabisa. Tukule miogo ukitengeza unga wa miogo uchanganye na hiyo nani Julia anasema hiyo chakula. Hao wanaume wanasema ati mpaka ugali ndio wanashiba. It's just iko hapa tu. Kienda Tanzania na Uganda hiyo wanaita kaunga, ugali inaitwa kaunga huko. You mix that na they have one of the best ugalis I've ever eaten. Acha hizi za huku kwetu unakula mahindi zingine zimeoza, zingine ni maembe nini. Tususie hiyo mahindi. Hao watu walikuwa wanaimba UDA hao na wanajiita wakulima. Wakule hiyo mahindi. Sasa ndio watasema imehulwa, badala ya kusema itahulwa watasema imeoza na ikaoza. So that they learn. They go to their Ruto awauzie hiyo mahindi yao ama waende wauzie Ruto. You see, it has to be fire for fire, Kenyans. Yes, it has to be fire for fire. Who supported this useless government? Ilikuwa ukienda upande ya Rift Valley watu wataki kusikia lolote. Ni yellow. Sasa wakule hiyo yellow. Hiyo yellow ndio inakuja, watakula na wakule. The rest of the Kenyans, please, susia hiyo mahindi, susia unga yoyote nyeupe. Okay? Labda ukule tu ile yako umevuna hapo kwako kama vile nani anasema. Kenya is very fertile. Indeed. Kenya watu wajaribu those areas that produce maize, unajaribu tu kukopa land. You borrow land from other people. You lease or you rent. If you have 2 acres, lease, invest, lease kwa muda mwaka moja. Yeyote yule ana land kubwa na hawezi kulima. Kuna mama wazee, akina baba wazee, wana shamba kubwa. Go there, pay them and don't nyanyasa them. Then produce if you have the capacity to do that. Ukambani yote is very fertile. Make use of those rivers. But when you are leasing land, unaenda unasema unalipa eka moja shilingi 10, shilingi 20. Unakuwa wewe ni mkoloni mambo leo. Lease my 20 acres of land, I can give it to you for 3 years, but you pay me good money because you're also going to make good money. And then that way we are able to shun off these other, kwanza to punish Ruto na hao watu wake hao. Hao walisema walisupport, wakaanza kusema ukabila ati yeye ni mtoto wao. Kikulacho kinguoni mwako. Kwa hivyo wavumilie tu, waingizwe hiyo kidole kwa mapua, wapelekwe na rivers watafika. Kariza alisema hivyo. unaingizwa kidole kwa mapua, unasukumwa reverse na utafika mwisho. So Kenyans, it's okay. I know you didn't elect this man, but I have always said, because you did not elect him, you should have rioted. You should have gone to the streets and say, no, this is not what we are saying. Why did we cow down? Our cowardice ndio itatukula. We will, we are there. Yeah. Now our MPs, we should shun them all. They are sitting in those committees. What committees are these in parliament? Discussing what? Ati sahi wamewekwa kwa kina nani Otiende Amolo, very intelligent and super people, wale tunaado wanaingia kwa makomiti za ufuzi. Must they be in those committees? Hata akina Mbandi wanaingia. What are they doing, these people? Why don't we tell them? Must they should shun all those committees. Why if they still want to earn as MPs, but waapie technically wanarudi wanaenda. Tufanye ile inaitwa maji baridi, baridi. We sabotage this government totally and absolutely. Tuwafinye mahali sitaki kutaja mpaka waanze kuchomoka wenyewe. Yeah, that is what we need to do. If you don't do it, shauri yenu wa Kenya. Mnaambiwa hapa mahindi. Kwani mahindi ndio nini? Finya hii serikali huko, ifinye kabisa. Ma-MP nyinyi kwanza muanze, mutoke huko. What you are doing there, you are not benefiting Kenyans. What those guys are doing in that parliament is not of any benefit to Kenya at all. UDA can continue doing their nonsense because that was their plan. That's why they stole the election, they stole the position, and now they are stealing the money and they are stealing the lives of Kenyans. That is all. There is nothing new. We saw it. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah. We were told hasla. Sasa mezeni hiyo, kuleni hiyo. Mimi hata siwezi onea hasla. Kunyweni hiyo. Mliambiwa ati mnapiga mapikipiki zenyu mmevaa yellow, matatu mnaweka yellow. Someone who is over 50 going to 60 mnamuita young, kijana. Wacha msokoto mfurahi wa Kenya. Sasa sisi tunataka kugawana Kenya. Rift Valley mubaki na Ruto wenu. Na wale watataka waingie huko Rift Valley, we divide the country. That is now our agenda. If we can't chase him, tumbakishie Ruto ya Rift Valley. And we stay on our own. Then we die with our own to small family. Kabisa. That is the way. Debate nyingi hazisaidii. Kuenda kuongea sijui hoping ati kutakuwa na changes where the constitution is not working. It has been suspended by one Mr. Ruto. Suspend your constitution silently. Okay? Everyone has gone wrong. And they are going wrong under his command. All right? So, with no constitution, parliament, wameambiwa tufanye vipindi hizo drama. Ati akina Chereregei ati wanaongea. That is drama. Those of you who did literature. Ni comedy kwa stage. It is comedy kwa stage. They know what they are doing. Ati Ruto ati Moses Kuria atafutwa kazi mwezi huu tarehe hii mafia kuku niongee kama Kibaki. Don't fool us. Utamfuta aje? How will you sack ni boss that ameappointiwa na the president? Where will you get the 2/3 of parliament to sign this thing? And why will they be signing that? Yeah, hiyo ni vipindire tu ndio tupige kelele, meli na offloadiwa kidogo, supermarket utasikia unga sasa imeteremshwa. Then Kenyans will go there saying tunashukuru rais wetu sana kwa sababu sasa unga ya ugali imekuwa shilingi 90 vile alipromise ndani ya siku 100. Hizo unakula madawa, GMO unaanza kufura side moja. Pigwa na stroke ukiwa 25 years old. Unazaa watoto chizi. Uko 25 years old, hata kuzaa utazaa. Those who don't have kids do not get, because that's the first hit of GMO. Kwisha ina destroy mbegu zote za kichakula na za kibinadamu. You're done. So the best thing we should do is just simply take Kagame route, as I said. Sri Lanka kwanza tutoe huyu jamaa, tuweke ule tutaweka, ama kama hatutaki kuweka tuambie jeshi yetu itusimamie. They are very ready to do that, I know. Vile hawawezi kuongea ya miaka kama 7 tukijipanga, manake Kenya lazima waoshwe hii dhambi wako nayo ndio waweze hata kupiga kura na wajue sasa, mtu ukipiga kura ukuje uambiwe si Stone PK na ulipigia Stone PK, unachoma hapo hiyo kituo ya hiyo kura, you burn it that day. That is where we are supposed to go. Hii mambo ya kuambia tukae Wakenya tupendane, ninakupenda unipeleke wapi? Kupendana tupeleke wapi? Tulipendana Kenyans, we must talk as one to go where? I want us to talk as one. Whoever be elected is pronounced elected. It doesn't matter who, but the votes should be counted. If they are counted day 1, day 2, they should be counted mpaka day ya mwisho. And we are told hivyo, si vipara kuja hapa na kutuambia mambo ya, and then you are told that accept and move on. Yes, accept and move on. You're moving on to hell, and hell hakuna mahali ingine, iko hapa duniani. Kenyans, you are the gates and doors of hell. Poleni sana of Kenya. Back to you, Ricky. Sounds bad.
Aya, sawa Stone.
PK, you have become, sorry Makiadi, PK has become a prophet of doom.
Yeah. Umemute Stone PK. Umemute.
Mwalimu Julia, that is doom. Those are the lies you people have been told that, I don't want to be prophet. But there is doom. My very mentor wangu kisiasa ni Kagame, because I attended so many sessions when I was working there, and there is now nothing I disagree from his reasoning, and I realize wale watu wanamuita dictator, they are thieves, crooks, na wezi na makatel, wale alifukuza Rwanda. But if you've never been to Rwanda, utaanza kupiga kelele, there is no democracy in Rwanda. Hakuna mwenye Rwanda ana complain. Biashara anafanya vizuri. If you are lazy, ana complain. It's only in Rwanda, a country where I found Wi-Fi kwa barabara. Unatembea hivi kila mahali unaenda unaambiwa hapa iko hotspot, hapa iko hotspot. Where else? Hata Europe zidani
iko Wi-Fi juzi, iko Wi-Fi imekuwa launched juzi, hujaona?
Hiyo bure kabisa.
Wapi Wi-Fi Makiadi?
Iko Wi-Fi imekuwa launch sijui Nyamakima ama ni wapi, somewhere around hapo kuna Wi-Fi, na wanasema wata roll out hiyo program across the country. So kuna Wi-Fi somewhere hapo, I can't remember where it is. Somewhere around
kama laptop. Itaenda tu kama laptop. Laptop na mastedi.
Haya. Sawa, kuna nini hapa nilikuwa nataka tuongee kabla tuendelee. Nione kama itacheza.
Emmanuel To, KT News, Nairobi.
Away from maize matters, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations boss, Mohammed Amin, disbanded the that's a unit within the DCI, that's the anti-counterfeit unit, and transferred its officers, among others, in the rank of chief inspector and the inspector of police to different parts of the country. Immediately after he announced that shake-up that saw the transfer of DCI bosses all around the country. Now this now fulfills a campaign promise that Kenya Kwanza government will reform the DCI at a time when cases of crime and banditry are on the rise. Additionally, a letter by the DCI boss asking the anti-stock theft unit to provide officers for a yet-to-be-formed unit points to the formation of a unit to fight crime. Our reporter, Fred Kagonye, reports.
In this communication dated 22nd November, DCI boss Mohammed Amin disbanded the anti-counterfeit unit which had been formed in 2018 by his predecessor, George Kinoti. The unit, under the command of Nathan Njoroge, was tasked with fighting contraband goods and was stationed at Parklands Police Station and reported directly to Kinoti. This move follows the disbandment of the Special Service Unit after allegations were leveled against the unit. It was accused of kidnapping and disappearing suspects. Perhaps the most known allegation is the disappearance of 2 Indians, Zulfikar Ahmad Khan and Zaid Sami Kidwai, and their taxi driver, Nicodemus Mwania. 9 police officers were arraigned in court in connection with their disappearance. 1 officer is out on a 500,000 shillings bail while 8 remain in custody. The officers were ordered by court to provide DNA samples and hand over their phones to investigators for forensic examination. These changes also come at a time when the government is fighting hard to ensure Kenyans of their safety, following the rise in crime cases. Nairobi's CBD was the hardest hit with muggings and stabbing, while cattle rustling affected areas of Kitui and Samburu. To curb the rising cases of muggings, the cabinet approved the formation of a special unit of officers drawn from the General Service Unit and the Radiation Deployment Unit. This latest communication from the DCI boss to the Administration Police seeks to recruit 50 officers from the GSU and the Anti-Stock Theft Unit to be deployed to the DCI, which points to the formation of yet another unit. Fred Kagonye, KTN News.
Haya, habari ndio hiyo. Tulisema iko SSI, SSU unit ambayo ilikuwa inatumika kuua watu, tukatupilia mbali. Sasa ninasikia DCI boss sasa anataka kurecruit sharpshooters kutoka kwa GSU, anti-stock theft. Sijui ni kazi gani hao watu wanakuwa recruited kufanya.
Ana recruit snipers ama
yeah, it's snipers.
So whom is he gonna shoot dead?
I don't know what's happening, but of also one importance is to note that there's a group that was formed specifically to fight counterfeit goods, and ukiangalia hapo pia imekuwa disbanded, so sijui, I don't know, maybe.
So Kenyans are free now to sell counterfeit goods. That's the impression we are getting, Makiadi. I mean, this government is undoing everything Uhuru did, so we sitting to watch what's going to happen.
The counterfeit goods ni zile zilikuwa zinachoma watu miguu, ambao sasa ndio maminister.
Na zilichoma nani? Na sasa yeye.
Jole jamaa alikuwa anachoma miguu na counterfeits.
Yeah.
Sasa ndio amesimamia hiyo ministry. So perhaps it's like wacha tufungulie kila kitu ikuje sasa.
Yeah, it's a banana republic, free for all, do what you are, eat GMO. Even Geoffrey Ruto is saying tuachane na yeye kule GMO. Ni sawa tu Geoffrey, tumekuachia. Geoffrey Ruto alituambia juzi utauza mahindi yako 6,000. Samahani Geoffrey, mahindi yako hata you may not even sell your maize, you may just give your maize to the cows.
Haya, Maggie, una kitu ya kusema?
Sina la kusema, lakini mimi namwambia huyo Geoffrey kwamba hizo GMO na yao ya 6,000 mimi siwezi nunua. Niko na ya kutosha. Tena inatosha watu wengi sana huko kwetu. Lakini mambo inaendelea Kenya. Let me add something on top. Spiritually, looking at it, I think God has really taken a hand in Kenya, which we really should appreciate. It was going to be worse, and even the Americans were expecting it, the Britons were expecting it, but God said no. Nikisema tu kijinga, lakini sio kijinga. There might be some reasoning in it, because iko maneno ingine nilisikia, kuna watu wengine wanaabudu cult. Hii cult sijui ni ya watu watajiri ama vitu gani na nini. Na unajua hizo mashetani wakiabudu, kuna wakati wanataka damu. So damu walingoja kutoka Ukraine hawakupata. Unajua Ukraine alibomb every place, watu wakufe na hawakukufa. So wenye walikuwa wanaabudu hiyo nini sana, wakasema okay, let us wait for Kenya. Ilitangazwa kabisa, don't go to Kisumu this such a date. Now hiyo iliaibisha hao watu kabisa, because hata kuna tu scratch ilifanyika Kisumu, na wenye walikuwa wame promise hao mashetani wao kwamba ngojeni Kenya inakuja na hiyo damu sasa. wakaibishwa na hao washetani wakasema okay, sasa wewe tunakuchukua tu, na wakachukuliwa na akaenda. You know, there's so much into it because there's a lot of confusion in Kenya. Hiyo silence yetu imefanya everything is not going well, even for those people you are thinking are enjoying. And that is why unaona confusion imeingia tu Rift Valley. Why not Mount Kenya? Mbona Wakikuyu hawalalamiki mambo ya GMO? Yeah, because hii kitu hao watu wa Nandi wa Rift Valley waliingia hii mambo ya cult. Sasa hiyo confusion imewabakia, na ndio unasikia mambo ya sijui GMO sijui nini, na watakuja kujuta tu. Stone PK alisema watakuja ku feel that heat. Hiyo heat bado, in fact the way I look at it, bado watakuja they are going to feel the heat in a way. Tutacheka tu sisi wenye walikuwa nafikiria ati wameshinda, so sisi tutabaki tu tukicheka as they are feeling that burn. Thank you.
All right, Stone PK.
Yeah, thank you, Richie. I wanted to
Richie, kwani sionekani kwa nini ama kunaendaje?
Kabro jainua mkono. Sema nitakuja. Endelea.
No, endelea. Richie anacheza round bwana. Ameniacha hapa, amecheza kila mtu mimi. Kama nimekuwa mweusi sana.
Unafikiwa hujainua mkono, nimeona Stone PK ameinua mkono. Utafikiwa tu sahi. You are the next one.
Nimeinua mkono juu kuna kakitu nataka kuchomelea hako ka Richie alikuwa ametaja na mama Megi ametaja. Ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba shetani ndiye amechukua usukani Kenya, na hakuna shetani anakuja akiwa amevaa pembe vile tulikuwa tunaonyeshwa tukiwa primary school kwa Bible studies. Shetani ni mimi na wewe, anatumia sisi, mimi na wewe. Okay, na sasa shetani Kenya ameweza kwa sababu ametumia the highest office on the land. Ameconquer. He's dancing wherever he is. All the powers of evil in the world are celebrating having conquered Kenya, because Kenya has resisted this for quite a long time, really long time. But now ameconquer. That's why no religion is working. Even those religious, hata zile makanisa kubwa zilikuwa zinachunguza mambo, zinatoa statements, they give a lot of spiritual guidance. Zimewezwa na hizi makanisa za wakikuwa wanasemanga ya maji, makanisa za maji mingi. Okay, hizo ndio zinaonekana zime take over. That is what the devil has used, because that is where they are doing money and all that. So what am I saying? After taking that control, that's why the leaders have done away with anything that is in order. We have a new world order in Kenya. The world order in Kenya is this unit is supposed to do what? Kuzuia, this should not happen. Disband. This unit is supposed to do what? To make sure that Kenyans, they are stima aiongezeki, disband and reinstall those who are there. Wale ambao walituongezea ile pesa nyingi walituibia kwa bill. For those of you who follow Kenyan, they have been reinstated and paid for the time they were fired. I don't want to name names because some of them are very close. We are close friends. All right? Wamerudishwa na ndio walituangamiza na bill, exaggerated bill. So anything that is supposed to be following a proper order, protecting mwananchi, has to be dismantled by this Satan, this devil. Because devil kazi yake ni kunyonya damu. Na Megi amesema, na kunyonya damu si ati mtu atukupe uone damu ya red. Kukunyonya damu ni kufika kwamba ile stima ukitumia hata unakuja unashindwa kulipa. The basic facilities Mkenya ashindwa kulipa. And that's where we are heading. Okay? Mkenya hii ukienda, people now who are affording Meko wameacha Meko. makaa nayo ndio hiyo, mafuta ya taa ndio hiyo. Huyo mtu atafanya nini? Ataanza kupika na makaratasi. Okay, they will start cooking with makaratasi, kuokota makaratasi, na mtu akiokota makaratasi juu ametoka wazimu. They are Finland, mpaka sasa itakuwa kulipa rent ni ngumu kwa hizi nyumba mzuri. Mnaenda kuishi nyumba za mabati where you are paying 1,200 or 500 shillings. So what does that tell you? That the middle class will start moving beyond Kabulu now. Watatoka huku ma estate nzuri, and then mashetani ndio watachukua hizi manyumba, and you will not be able to do that. The mwananchi wa kawaida will be chased. The last point you'll be chased ni Oshago. Ukienda Oshago nako GMO ishafika, kilimo hakuna. What do? You just hang yourself. Most of them, it's not GMO that will kill them. It's suicide. When hazimo, frustration. I'm telling you, the fees may increase. And you know, when we talk here on this studio, I can see some people commenting very stupidly on the other side, because, they are so myopic and shallow. Sorry to say this. Most of these keyboard warriors are very shallow, maybe very young. They have not seen what has been happening. There are people even who come from deep in the village. Yeah, you can imagine coming from cattle rustling, alafu unaleta mtu unamvalisha tai na suti aingie parliament, and you expect that person to make law for you. Which law does that one know? Anachunganga ng'ombe kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni, akifuata nyuma hata si mbele, then unamleta parliament. So Kenya, we are done. We are done. Every working body has been dismantled, and then you dismantle a DCI, you create another one with a different name, so that you put in your own people, ndio waende wakaue those people who are opposing you. We know what is happening. Yeah. So basically is, and I keep on giving this rallying call. If we sit to wait, we just wait as everything melts down. As snow on Mount Kenya is melting down, then the rest of the communities will be melting down. Pole sana. Back to you, Makiadi.
Thank you, Stone PK. Kuna mtu anaitwa Charles Agwaru. Umeingia kwa mtego mbaya. Kuna spam hapo huwa inatusumbua. So umefinywa kimakosa, utarudishwa tu saa hii. Umeblokiwa kimakosa, utarudishwa saa hii. Samahani. Kuna hii spams huwa zinakuja kutuangaisha hapa kwa comment section, na huwa ka dangerous sana, kana ruka ukitaka ukablock kana pita haraka, so you'll be unblocked. Pole kwa hiyo.
Nika GMO.
Kanakaa ka GMO hii yenye watu wameletewa pande ile. Ukienda kukaweka block kanaruka kanapita. Haya, Mato.
Mama Migi, it's been a long time. Nice to see you, Mami. Just kusalimia. Na nimejua wewe ni neighbor yangu. Finally. I think as we go on, lazima tuanze kuangalia vitu in a certain way. Niko na points 3 tu za kusema, Richie, if you allow me. And this one's, mimi siangalii mtu ametoka pande gani ama anaishi pande gani, lugha gani, I don't care, as long as you are a Kenyan. I'm just trying to be serious right now and just being Kenyan. Kidogo tu. Hata nirudio baadaye. Governance, na nimekuwa nikisema hiyo kitu, governance is what we need. We are very devastated as a citizenry of Kenya, regardless which part you live. We are very devastated, and kuna watu wenye wako extreme right, extreme left, kuna wenye wako katikati, kuna wenye wako mahali nini, but the problem that we are lacking is governance. I think si wote tunakubaliana. Mpaka the other day I saw Duke akikuja hapa hivi akakubaliana na kitu yenye tunasema GMO no. But we all know ishaingia, because tunajua the cartels, how they work. We know ishaingia. Your ship ishaingia. And Richie amecheza hata nini video hapo hivi. Guys, without repeating myself, unajua kuna the cartels and everything, and cartels are business people. Kuna kitu nataka watu waelewe. Profit ni revenue yenye unapeana na cost yenye itatumika. Cost ni nini? Cost kuna fixed. Alafu cost inaweza kuwa fixed ama variable. So when you have the fixed, I believe that's the farmers right there. Wale wetu tunaweza tumia hiyo cost na bado watu wapate profit yao. Variable, sasa hapo ndio hao so uchezeaga. Kwa zile kitu watafanya, tulikuwa hapo hivyo kwa comment section tunagongana na our good friend mwenye anakuaga hapo hivyo Black akisema itateremsha unga chini, hata hiyo ni GMO ikiingia, and then nini, and then pia farmers walete, then itateremsha. But I was asking him a simple question. Richie, wewe unaishi kwa farm yako Bungoma, millers wako hapo area ya Bungoma ama hata ukitaka sema Naivasha. Mimi niende ni buy uko nilete na ship, lazima tena niichukue tena ni ship mpaka kwa mila mwenye ako hapo Bungoma. Don't you think at that point ni cost yangu yote imeishi hapo hivyo, sasa tuko pamoja? So basically I'm just saying financially or you know, it doesn't make any sense, because either way, unless nauzia mtu apeleke Bungoma kutoka pale kwa port, either way ile cost nimetumia yote, ile variable yote nimetumia, by the time nifikisha hapo hivyo, bado sidhani kama hata ita reduce unga yoyote. Ni kama mtu ako Kenya anunue gari na mimi niende Japan niende ninunue gari, bado niko na cost ya kuileta, niko na cost ya nikishafikisha ya kuregister kwanza ni make ikuwe legal, na niko na cost hizo zote, na lazima ni recover hiyo pesa yote ndio tu kwanza tukue even. So me, I feel I want to demystify wale kuna watu wamekuja na argument ya hata hizo GMO zikiingia na ziende zisiagwe zikue unga itateremka. Okay, to assume GMO si mbaya kwa nini yetu, kwa mwili yetu, lakini bado mimi mwenye niliendea huko, unataka niende loss? Na wewe uko na yako hapa, na uko karibu na mwenye anaenda kumil na yake kwa package, sitabidi bado nichukue lori, hata nikileta na ship, nimekuja na ship, lazima nilipe hiyo ship, alafu nichukue hiyo ship tena niipeleke mpaka kwa huyo mila, cause mila wako kwa kila barabara. We only have a couple of millers that do that. Wengi kwanza wako hizo sides huko juu kina Bungoma Western huko, waende wa mill ndio sasa tena tu transportene ikuje Nairobi. But nazana niuzie tu hiyo kama mimi ndio nimeleta, lakini lazima ni make profit yangu. So either way, sio niyo kitu ikileta ikiteremsha unga in any way, because bado nitakuuzia venye ule agekuuzia. Airi ule agekuuzia kuniliko mimi mwenye nimetoa huko, kwa sababu lazima nilipe hiyo pesa yote yenye nimeleta nayo. That was just something I wanted to put out there. Watu wenye wanafikiria ikikuja itafanya nini, kwanza jiulize hiyo pesa ya kuinunua ilitoka wapi, na mwenye alinunua kitaka kupata nini kwa profit yake. I want to talk in a layman's language, not even in a business. Alinunua tu, anunua akupatie for free, You think alinunua tu ilete for free? Na akinunua ni pesa yenyu ilinunua ama ni mtu alienda kanunua mwenyewe akuja apate profit yake? Na kama ni pesa alinunua ya government, then haufai kulipishwa chochote, especially venye tumeambiwa kulipatikana panya kwa nini kwa bank accounts, because that's your money. And I want to educate people, because normally I'd like to come over here to educate yani. Kama ni pesa ya gava ilitumika, then hakuna mtu anafaa kuwa akipata profit. And if it's time yenye hata mmetoa subsidy ya hiyo unga, immediately mliingia. Mtu hafai kulipa chochote, cause hiyo ni pesa yako ulishalipa. Lakini kama ni pesa ya mtu, nataka uniambie we Mkenya, kama unaweza enda uchukue ship mzima, ulete, na ukoso kumake profit. Hiyo GMO tu yenye mnasema ati ita reduce transactions, how much you make profit. Nataka watu wajiulize hiyo kitu. Now turudi kwa kitu ya DCI mumeongea tu saizi. There's a time kulikuwa na kitu inaitwa, walikuwa na Haize, sijui Heze or something, Wakayole, Heze sijui wa wapi, walikuwa na Facebook account. Wakora walikuwa na kwa Facebook hivi, wanaambiwa wewe tunakujua. Watu wa Islando wanajua, cause mtu alinionyesha tu hiyo kitu. Mtu alikuwa naekelea, nilikuwa mbali so msione kama najua hivyo, but mtu alikuwa naekewa tu kwa Facebook, anaambiwa tunakujua. Wakora walikuwa wanahama, wanarudi ushago, because ukishikwa autoki hapo. Now it's against human rights, and I don't advocate for something like that. Lakini hiyo time ulikuwa unapewa warning, unaambiwa tukikushika wewe, cause rusha kujua, tunajua ile kitu ulifanya, unaekewa kwa Facebook kabisa picha yako. Mbona watu walikuwa na, I was reading the whole story. Watu walikuwa ukiona tu picha yako ushajulikana. Watu walikuwa na hama, wanarudi ushago, wanaenda kukua watu wazuri. And there was this Somali guy that hata akona documentary, which I'm not lying, it's there online. You can go look at it. It's there. Alikuwa part of that. Lakini walikuwa wanamkujia, wanamwambia mimi sitafanya uhalifu tena, tafadhali nisaidie. Na alikuwa na watu kama kina sisi wenye tuko huko hivi, wenye tulikuwa tunatuma pesa, kama umeamua utafanya uhalifu tena, unaekwa mahali unaweza fanya, kama ni shule ama ni nini, na unaacha na kabisa unaogopa ile kitu itakufanyikia. So, is that a bad way of policing? At the time, I was like, it's a bad way of policing. Today, when I know someone mwenye ameuliwa because of wig, mtu tulienda shule naye, wig, ameuliwa na amedungwa, msichana, mama, mtu ameacha mtoto, someone I went to school with, na ametolewa hiyo wig. I think that's a good way of policing. For now, until watu wapate njia. Where criminals don't think they can just get away with everything. But if you want rehabilitation, we can give you rehabilitation. Na ukijulikana when a criminal, get away, toka kabisa hiyo mahali. Unless ukuje uitishe. Michuki said one thing. If you rattle a snake, expect to be beaten by that same snake. And some of the criminals that we have in Kenya, especially the village, I mean, wale wa pale tao, they know there's nothing you're going to do with them. Wanajua, cause wako wengi. Ukijaribu kushuka watakuchapa we mwenyewe. So when we hear those essays of on the Facebook ones, eze wa Kayole, eze wa Isili na nini, and when they knew this thing was serious, the criminality iliisha. But now that you have this Gashagwa mwenye anataka watu, the police DCI wenda wakakai kwa ofisi huko Kiambu Road, and that's the vice president, then we have a problem. And that's why we have a problem. So let's not cry as Kenyans. If we're bringing ourselves the problem, tukijiletea shida, please, tuache kulia. Hiyo ni shida yetu. Tumejiletea wenyewe. You know? Even though I don't like the way they used to do it, lakini they used to give them a chance. Ukijileta unapelekwa shule, na walikuwa na a GoFundMe, watu walikuwa nalipa. I'm one of the person that actually used to pay for the criminals that wanted to change, and I know some that have changed and they become big people through some of our contribution with the club that we do to help that change. So what I'm trying to say, does it take sometimes roughness to deal with roughness? I think yes. I never agreed with it, but now I think. So how are we going to finish the crime in Nairobi? That Mama Megi akitembea pale, anaweza tembea bila kuguzwa na mtu nani, hata Julia akitembea anaweza tembea bila kuguzwa. How are we going to do that? That's what Kenyans needs to do, because right now we have a government that is not thinking the way we are thinking. We have a government that wants to reprimand kila mtu, that wants to change everything that has happened before the other government, so that they can waonekane kama wanaweza, na wengine wako na uchungu because walishikwa because of their criminality. Most of them, they are criminals. We have a government of criminals. All, I mean, see what, but most of them are criminals. People who have been jailed, and if you are mekwa pingu and you're not supposed to be there, per chapter 6 of the Constitution. So for them, Kenyans, we need, I don't like going to Stone PK's side, but I think at this point I have to side with Stone PK. It's maybe about time that we told the government that you are not the government, we are the government, you're just public servants. And we went and got what is ours and gave it to the right people that we know can actually serve our nation, serve us, all of us, regardless of your language, regardless of your profession, regardless of who you are, and regardless of everything. I think that's what it is. People who can make good policies, and not people who make policies because they are going to get a ship coming in, doing something, and that's what they're pushing. And Kenyans are asking you guys, with the representatives here, that it's time we start thinking and we start forgetting about Raila fighting for us 24/7. Raila is not going to be here forever. Boniface Mwangi came, left. But today we have places that we can talk like this. We have the, the Bunge la Wananchi, and we can talk and tell our people, our parliamentarians, we are not playing with you guys, and you're not going to play with us. Na hata hiyo Range Rover yako tutaichukua ukicheza na sisi kama hujaipata vizuri. I'm starting to work with Stone PK. Watu semaga Stone PK is radical. But I'm starting to work with Stone PK that I think is about time we go radical with these people in Argentina, they went and took their parliamentarians waliwaeka kwa trash cans na wakawafungia kwa trash cans. Boniface Mwangi tried kupeleka pigs huko na watu hakuona. Alikuwa anaenda kulala kwa jela peke yake. I'm not in Kenya but I'm willing. Kuna rafiki yangu mnamjua na kwa hapa siku hizi yuko, lakini anakuja ngapa. Yeye alisema ako ready hata kutoka kule yuko aende akakuletia gas na mandazi. Hata mimi niko ready kwenda kulatia gas na mandazi, because we have to change this country. Hatuwezi kuwa tunaishi hizi country za huku ugaibuni na tunaacha wetu wakiumia huko. Tunaona hizi vitu zote, and that is a country that we cannot be called a third world country anymore. That you don't even want to go to your country, or you have to fight to go to your own country. I love my country. Yes, I live away, but I love my country so much, and that's why I go home every Christmas. And I'm going. Wakinishika wanishike, shauri yao. Nimekuwa hapa mwaka mzima nikiwagonga. But that's fine. I'm just saying, we need to start talking our country and the things that actually matter for our country and the things that are going to do our country. And if it needs a revolution, we will not be the first country to go for a revolution. Including Ethiopia. Nimeenda Saidia Stone PK. Sorry, Richie. Lo nimeenda vibaya. But I think we need to start talking like that, and we need to look at each other as a family, as a country, who's a family where we are both, every language, everything. When be proud, like Uhuru used to say, be proud of our culture, whether you are a Kikuyu, you are a Kamba, you are what, we come together and say, you know what, you guys, enough is enough. Thank you.
Aya, Mato, naona umemalizia hapo. Naona time imeenda pia, lakini I'll give you also people an opportunity to give your closing remarks. But before we do that, I want to play a video that somebody has told me I have to play tonight. So let me see kama itakubali.
Wachuuzi katika soko la Kikuyu kaunti ya Kiambu wanakadiria hasara kubwa baada ya walaghai waliojifanya kwamba ni maafisa watakaotoa mikopo kwa wanabiashara wadogo nchini chini ya hazina ya Hustler Fund kuwalaghai wengi na kuwapora fedha zao, huku waliolaghaiwa ndani ya mtego huo wakidai kuporwa kima cha takriban shilingi 300,000. Kadhalika imebainika kwamba kando na soko la Kikuyu, maeneo mengine ambapo watu wamehangaishwa na walaghai ni soko la Udhiru, Kangemi, Kinoo na soko la Wangige katika eneo bunge la Kabete. Tayari uchunguzi umeanzishwa, huku wachuuzi wakiomba serikali kuwa macho na kuwalinda wananchi walio hatarini ya kupoteza fedha zao mikononi mwa walaghai wanaotaka kujinufaisha na ahadi ya Rais William Ruto ya kutoa mikopo ya riba ya chini kwa watu wa chini ya mpango wa Hustlers Fund.
Na kwa kweli kama ulikuwa unapata kama umequalify, kulikuwa na form walikuwa nazo, unajaza zile form ndio unaweza kuqualify hiyo loan. Akaniambia wanapeana loan na ile loan yao interest ni 3.5% na wanapeana kulingana na statement ya M-Pesa. Na waliweza kunifungulia app yangu ya M-Pesa na wakaona nimequalify 295.8 na wakaniambia wanaweza nipatia 7,000 na hiyo pesa nitapata siku ya Monday muda wa saa 3 ya usiku. Hii soko yetu ni kubwa, iko na idadi ya watu, na kulingana na ile pesa ambayo mimi nasikia malalamishi kwa watu ni 1,300.
Nilikuwa nalipwa na coach. Sasa nikaona immediately nikaona nime-withdraw 80,800. Nikaona nika-withdraw. Sasa nikukaa nikaona nimetumia mtu 15,900. Kukaa nikaona wamefulisha. Kukaa nikaona wamejitumia hiyo 270. Sasa nikashindwa nani nimetumia pesa na mimi sija-withdraw, sijafanya nini. Nikawauliza pesa bila garanta, bila saving, inakuaje hii pesa? Wakaniambia ni bottom up ile ya Ruto. Kwa hivyo tunaanza na bottom up, na Ruto amesema Safaricom mpeane pesa kwa mwananchi. Kwa hivyo sisi tukisikia ni president wetu ametumana, tulifurahia, tukafikiri anajua shida zetu. Sasa kusikia sio Ruto, tukachangana, tukaambiwa hakuna kitu kama hivyo.
Makiadi teaser, pay attention. It is this one. People have forgive me, like people from Mount Kenya.